Moin Moin Freunde, hier ist Sascha und ich begrüße euch heute zum vermutlich nicht letzten Video zum Thema Rollenwahl in Overwatch bzw. Roll-Lock, denn vor wenigen Minuten, wie spekuliert, ist der Roll-Lock auf dem PTR live gegangen und es gibt ein knapp 16-minütiges Developer-Update von Blizzard und ich dachte, wir schauen uns das Ganze gemeinsam an, wir halten an, wir kommentieren das Ganze. Es wird in weiteren Videos, werde ich euch den Roll-Lock natürlich im Spiel zeigen, aber wir wollen uns das Ganze heute einfach mal anschauen und mal gucken, was Blizzard zu sagen hat, weil es sind gravierende Änderungen fürs Spiel und ja, krasse Sache.
Greetings everyone, this is Jeff from the Overwatch team. I just want to give you a little bit of a warning. I think this is going to be a longer developer update than we usually do, but it's because we want to spend time explaining things very carefully to you. So as you know in Overwatch, we give you a very short period of time to choose your team.
Das
the
stimmt.
Assembles Heroes mode is only 40 seconds long. And as many of you know, as veteran Overwatch players, team composition is everything to your success and failure of whether or not you're going to win the match. And we feel like there's a lot of pressure on you in that 40 seconds to make some very tough decisions.
Okay.
For this reason, we are introducing a feature that's going to give you more control over your experience. And this feature is called Roll Queue.
Called it a year ago.
The reason we are adding Roll Queue is because we believe that it's going to improve match quality. It's going to give you more control over your play experience. You're going to have more options as to what you're going to play.
Stimmt, das ist
and it's
einfach
also
so.
going to relieve a lot of the social pressure that some of us feel and overall create a better social experience for us when picking our heroes and picking our role.
Ganz wichtiger Punkt, ich sag's immer wieder gerne, ihr geht in ein Match rein, ihr habt 3 Supports, ihr seid Support-Main, ihr müsst auf eine andere Rolle flexen. Das gibt so viel, es gibt euch so viel einfach drauf auf euch und es bedeutet, ihr müsst eine Rolle füllen, die ihr nicht könnt und es ist so viel Social-Druck. Es ist vollkommen richtig, was Jeff hier sagt.
So let me go into the details of what Roll Queue is going to be for Overwatch. From now on, in competitive and quick play, as well as in Overwatch esports, when you queue up for a match, you will be asked to pick a role between support, damage, or tank. When you get into the match, you will only be able to pick the role that you queued for. So if you pick tank, you will be limited to the tanks that you can play. Every team in Overwatch will be comprised of 2 tanks, 2 damage, and 2 support.
Ich verstehe halt nicht, warum sie es im Quickplay einführen, weil ich finde, Quickplay ist der Spaßmodus. Das ist ein bisschen überraschend in meinen Augen, aber vielleicht kommt da später noch was zu.
So obviously this is a very big change, but we think it's a change for the better. There's some really cool reasons to do this. So right now in Overwatch, we give you an overall matchmaking rating because we don't know what you're going to play. You might get into a match with the intention of playing Reinhardt, but there's already multiple tanks on your team, so you end up playing Widowmaker instead. In that case, you might actually perform much better or worse as a tank than you would as a damage player.
Sie machen das einfach, damit wir besseres Matchmaking kriegen. Holy shit, Freunde, sie machen das. Es hat einen Sinn tatsächlich, dass wir es in Quickplay kriegen. Weil das, was er sagt, ist total richtig. Du spielst in Quickplay anders als im Ranked. Und wie wir pimmeln jede Runde rum, die wir Quickplay machen. Und natürlich ist dann quasi meine MMA im Hintergrund ein anderes, als wenn ich Ranked spiele. Letztendlich, auch wenn es uns einschränkt in Quickplay und ich es dumm finde, es macht Sinn.
Player. And the match balance is in flux constantly because of this. Well, under the new system, you will have an under-the-hood matchmaking rating for every single role, damage, tank,
nice.
and support. What's even cooler about this is in competitive, we're now going to give you, instead of 1 skill rating for your entire playstyle, we're going to give you 3 skill ratings, each one based on tank, damage, and support. We found this internally to be a lot of fun. A lot of us are discovering things about ourselves that we didn't even know. For example, for me, I am an entire skill rating tier higher on tank than I am on support. I used to think support was my second best role, and it actually is my worst role, and I'm decent at damage and really good at tank. So I learned something about myself as a player, which was really cool, and it was neat to see that my tank play is an entire skill rating higher than my damager supports.
Das ist die einzige Art und Weise, wie Roll Queue funktionieren kann, indem du wirklich die Rollen aufsplittest, auch im Rank. Du kannst nicht jemanden, der 4000er Rating als Supporter hat, als 4000er Rating als DPS bewerten. Der geht da einfach unter. Und das macht Sinn und das ist eine fantastische Änderung, ganz ehrlich.
So that was really cool, and we think it'll be a lot of fun for you. Now,
ach ja, und Jeff ist ein Pleb als Supporter, haben wir erfahren.
You're probably wondering about some of the details with competitive play and how that might change the experience. Instead of playing 10 placement matches and then being placed into the competitive season, you will now have the option for each role of only having to place in 5 placement matches.
Okay.
So if you want to place in all 3, which we totally encourage you to do, you would do 5 placement matches.
Also 15 placement matches, 5 pro
And
Rolle.
then you'll be placed and you will get a skill rating that will actually display on your career profile. And each season you can now try to raise and lower 3 different skill ratings instead of just 1. We think it's really cool. If you place in any role, like if you just picked one, you just want to play damage for competitive, we'll give you the player icon and the spray like we've done in previous seasons.
This is nice.
One of the things that I think is really cool, though, is for placing in all 3 and, you know, having a skill rating in all 3 roles, you now get competitive points per role.
Ooh.
So if you place in all 3 roles in a season, you'll actually get more competitive points than you would have previously under the old system.
Oh mein Gott, wie gut ist das? Also zum einen, ich hoffe, dieses System wird dafür sorgen, dass Leute weniger smurfen. Hoffe ich wirklich. Wahrscheinlich nicht, aber es wäre cool. Aber wie cool ist denn das bitte? Du platzierst dich auf all deinen, also in jeder Rolle und du kriegst halt im Grunde genommen, also das ist wirklich, du hast mehr Ranglistenpunkte, die du verdienen kannst. Das ist halt mega gut.
So we think that's really cool. We will publish a chart that shows how the new competitive points sort of translate and all of that. Now, there's some other differences to competitive that will happen, and this is in regards to, you know, the new system and making sure that we test it properly. So we're going to end season 17 early.
Wussten wir schon.
And we're going to start a beta competitive season that will start on August 13th and only run for 2 weeks. Roll queue is a very complicated feature that requires a lot of testing, and while roll queue will be on the PTR for PC today, we want to have more broad testing that actually touches PlayStation, Xbox, and PC.
Macht Sinn.
So we're gonna roll a beta season that's gonna start on August 13th and last until September 1st.
Okay,
that's
cool.
gonna allow us to tune and tweak roll queue to make sure that it's perfect when it releases.
Macht Sinn, das System du kannst nicht nur auf dem PTR testen, wo weniger Leute spielen. Es macht Sinn, eine Beta-Season einzuschieben. Es macht definitiv Sinn. Ich hoffe, er sagt gleich noch, es gibt wirklich ein Reset fürs MMA, weil das hat bisher, fürs SR, das hat er bisher noch nicht gesagt.
Officially, which is going to be on September 1st. So you're initially going to get a beta competitive season that features roll queue. That's going to last 2 weeks starting in mid-August. Then on September 1st, roll queue turns on for everyone. This means quick play, this means competitive, even some of the arcade modes.
Arcade?
Now, we know some of you really love the way that quick play and competitive work right now, and you don't want to have a roll limit.
Was kommt jetzt?
So for those of you folks who aren't interested in the roll limit, or maybe you do like the roll limit, but you just occasionally want to play the other way, we're going to make sure that in the arcade, there is a card called Quick Play Classic that will allow you to play Overwatch exactly as you do today, with the added benefit that you'll also be getting the arcade loot boxes. So we think that this will be a very positive experience for those of you who are reluctant about roll queue or maybe want to take your time experimenting with the feature. Know that the Quick Play Classic feature is there for you.
Ja, Leute, ist doch geil. Ohne Scheiß. Sie geben uns genau das, was wir wollen. Sie packen auf der einen Seite ins normale Quickplay den Hero Queue rein, was eine Repräsentierung des Spiels ist. Und auf der anderen Seite hat jeder, der weiterhin sein No-Limit-Zeug spielen möchte und Quickplay, wie es jetzt ist, der kann das in Arcade spielen und kann dafür sogar Lootboxen noch extra drauf verdienen. Finde ich, ehrlich gesagt, eine coole Sache. Also wirklich, sie machen es hier allen recht.
Now, I want to spend a little bit more time talking about the why of this feature. I think there's a lot that's changed about Overwatch in the past few years, and all of it's good. The players have evolved, the games have evolved, how we think about team composition has evolved. I think a lot of us realize how important the different roles are, how important team composition is, and we approach the game differently. Now, we've all been in these various scenarios, and I'm going to spell some of them out for you. Think about the time that you just wanted to play Hanzo.
Ist noch nie passiert.
You were really in the mood to play Hanzo, and so you log into Overwatch, and you click on Hanzo as soon as he's available in the role lineup, and then you're watching the heroes on your team get selected around you, and you suddenly realize that you have no tanks in support, and there you are on Hanzo. And you're faced with this dilemma, like, what do I do? At this point, we have no tanks, we have no support. If I switch off of Hanzo, I'm not getting to do what I wanted to do, yet I feel like we're going to lose because there's nobody to heal and there's nobody to tank. So it's a really tough dilemma. There's also a lot of us who always pick last. I'm a player that does this. I always tell my team, I'll flex, you guys all pick, and I'll go ahead and fill for whatever's left. So a lot of times, what will end up happening is, for example, I'll end up playing support on my team.
Keiner will Support
as I
spielen.
mentioned earlier, I happen to know that my matchmaking rating as a support player is far lower than my matchmaking rating as a tank player. Even though I'm trying to be a good teammate to you when I'm picking support, I might actually be putting my team in a very detrimental situation. Sure, I'll play Zenyatta, I'll play Mercy, but I'm not as good of a Mercy player as I am as a Diva or a Reinhardt.
Sie haben halt tatsächlich das Problem so hart erkannt einfach. Ne? Auch das ganze Quickplay-Problem haben sie erkannt. Weil das Ding ist immer das Quickplay steckt dich ja in ein Match rein, wo es denkt, wo du ungefähr stehst von Hand deines MMAs. Und wenn du im Quickplay aber ständig andere Helden spielst, dann oder was flexen musst, dann kannst du natürlich nicht in ein gutes Match geworfen werden. Es macht, ganz ehrlich, es macht halt so hart Sinn. Und es kann mir keiner erzählen gerade, dass er sagt, oh Gott, nee, das macht keinen Sinn, das ist scheiße. Also, natürlich wird das jemand sagen, aber wenn man sich das anhört, es macht alles wirklich Sinn. Und es zeigt nochmal, egal wie sehr wir sagen, Blizzard ist out of touch manchmal mit der Community, sie haben halt genau die Probleme erkannt. Und es wird allgemein vermutlich für ein wenig besseres Matchmaking sorgen.
Heart player. And in essence, I've caused a great imbalance to happen in the game. So we've all been under these scenarios as well, where we're trying to do the right thing and we don't even realize that innocently we are damaging the quality of the match and lessening my team's odds of winning the match by playing a role that I wasn't intended to play. So that's another example. And then possibly the one that I think bothers a lot of us is we get into a match, we think we're picking a hero that's really going to help our team. We pick that hero, and then another teammate disagrees with us. And maybe they're very vocal, and they're putting pressure on me to play something different. And either for reasons that I feel like I'm not skilled at that hero, or I just don't want to play that hero, now I'm getting this pressure from somebody else to switch onto something that I'm not comfortable doing.
Kennt jeder von
and
uns.
we've added this social tension. And as I mentioned at the beginning of the developer update, we're only giving you 40 seconds to resolve these type of issues. All of these scenarios that I sort of spelled out for you are the reason that we're moving the game in this direction.
Es macht
I
Sinn.
want to dispel any misconception that the reason that we are implementing this feature is to change the meta. We are not at all. In fact, we're in the middle of a big meta shift anyway that's happening very naturally through Hiro Balance.
Das stimmt tatsächlich. Also zum einen durch Balance-Änderungen und zum anderen auch, wenn man OWL schaut, ne? Shanghai Dragons, kein Golds und so.
We don't believe that a rule like this is intended to target any one specific meta. There will always be a meta. There will always be some level of dissatisfaction with a meta. And we would never make a rule change like this targeted at a specific meta. It's also not our goal to control the meta. I've heard people say that if we went to something like a 2-2-2 composition, we would be limiting the creativity of the game.
Habe ich heute mindestens 5-mal im Chat gehört.
And I couldn't disagree with this more. I feel like the most creative people work creatively within constraints. For example, and I know I'm off on a bit of a tangent here, but Shakespeare, one of the greatest writers of all time, wrote beautiful sonnets. And there's no more constrained form of poetry than the sonnet, which is 14 lines of iambic pentameter. I think if Shakespeare can be creative within the sonnet, I'm confident that you all will come up with creative team compositions within a 2-2-2.
Jeff, das war echt deep.
2 to the 1, from the 1 to the 3. What's up? This is Jeff from the Overwatch team situation. So there's a lot going on here. The last part that I want to mention that I feel like is by no means the least part that we should focus on is Hiro Balance.
Balanceänderungen müssen kommen.
With a 2-2-2 composition, it's going to change how we have to balance the heroes. It's not going to be easier to balance the heroes. It's not going to be more difficult to balance the heroes. It's just different. And there are changes that are going to happen to some of our heroes to make them viable within this role queue 2-2-2 setup that we are moving to. A hero that I will use as an example is Brigitte. Brigitte is going to get a lot of big balance changes, and you'll be able to read about these. We'll link to them, and you'll be able to read all the patch notes, so you'll know what I'm talking about. But Brigitte is going to get tremendous balance changes, and the reason being is currently Brigitte is extremely powerful when played with 2 other supports. So you're already in a 3 support situation. But Brigitte is actually not as viable with only 1 other support.
Das ist das Problem. Ich sagte, sie müssen Brigitte eigentlich buffen. Also sie müssen Brigitte buffen, damit sie im 2-2-2 Sinn macht.
And sometimes Brigitte can be a detriment to your team when only played with 1 other support. We need to rebalance Brigitte for this current situation. You'll see this happen with some of our other heroes as well. Now, we know role queue is going to be a big change. I think this is the biggest change we've added to the game since we went to the hero limit 3 years ago. This is a big change. I know it's dramatic. I know players in general are adverse to change. Please work with us on this. We're doing this to make the game better. We believe that it will make the overall experience for all of you better, and that's why we're making the change. If things aren't great at first, we have lots of knobs to turn to make things better. We are monitoring this extremely closely, and we're going to do a lot of things to make sure that this is the absolute healthiest choice for the game at all points, and know that the entire team is committed to making changes.
Das ist halt wichtig, sie brauchen das Feedback, deswegen finde ich die Beta-Season auch gut, dass sie sagen, wir machen eine Beta-Season, die schauen wir uns an, ja.
If we do anything that's not for the best of the game. One of the things that I'm personally concerned about
wir gucken uns
is queue
Patch Notes
times.
noch an.
I think that it's possible if one role is more popular than the other roles, people are going to have to wait longer to play that role. I anticipate this for the damage role in particular. I think there might be longer queue times for damage. We are doing some things to help alleviate this. There is a reward system in place for playing the roles that are more impacted. You will get a bonus for playing those roles, and you'll learn more about that. And then also, we just think the very nature of...
Ich hoffe nur, es sorgt nicht dafür, dass die Leute dann diese anderen Rollen spielen, weil sie einen Bonus haben wollen. Das wäre natürlich möglichst bad.
Knowing that you're going to have a quicker experience. If you want to play really, really fast, you can either go to the arcade and play Quick Play Classic, or you can play some of those other roles that are more impacted right now. So know that this is something that we're keeping an eye on, but it's a direct trade-off to moving towards this type of system. We really appreciate your patience with us. I know so many of you have wanted this feature for so long.
Sehr lange.
We've actually been working on this for over a year. It's an extremely complicated change.
Crazy.
It's required a complete rewrite of our matchmaking system in order to get us here. But we believe that this is the best thing for the long-term health of the game. We're going to continue to iterate on the feature as it goes live, and we're going to make sure that overall the play experience is improved. And the reason for doing a big dramatic change like this is to make sure that all of you continue to have more fun playing Overwatch, and maybe some people who used to play Overwatch will be happy to come back because now this is in place and they know they're guaranteed to play the role that they really wanted to play in that match. We're looking forward to what you have to say about this on the PTR. We're also looking forward to your feedback when it goes into that short multi-week beta season that I mentioned earlier. As always, we're reading and listening to all of your feedback, and we can't wait to bring this feature to you. We think it will really improve the experience of Overwatch. Thank you.
Puh. Das ist eine Menge, Freunde. Das ist eine Menge, was Blizzard uns hier entgegengeworfen hat. Das ist wirklich eine Menge. Also, es ist das, was wir seit mindestens einem Jahr wollen. Wir wollen die Änderungen in Ranked und jetzt sind sie da. Sie sind einfach da und was ist einfach da? Wir mussten ein Jahr darauf warten. Wie Jeff schon sagte, es gibt noch einen sehr umfangreichen Artikel, der das Ganze nochmal. Gibt es den nicht in Deutsch? Ist echt nicht in Deutsch? Sicher in Deutsch, oder? Der das Ganze noch ein bisschen ausführlicher macht. Ja, hier. Wir stellen vor die Rollenwahl. Hier ist das Ganze nochmal deutlich ausführlicher drin. Hier sehen wir auch, wie das System einfach funktioniert. Das werden wir uns alles im Game in weiteren Videos anschauen. Aber wir sehen hier im Grunde genommen die SR pro Rolle. Wir sehen sogar die Wartezeit. Das finde ich auch sehr schön. Achso, man kriegt Lootboxen. Lootboxen ist scheinbar der Bonus, wenn du spielst. Okay, finde ich okay. Ich hätte ein paar SR schöner gefunden, aber sie haben jetzt aber nicht gesagt, ob es ein Reset gab, oder? Das war jetzt, glaube ich, nicht drin. Hier sehen wir auch, wie das neue Profil aussieht. 3, nice. 5 Placement-Matches haben wir ja gehört. So, hier sehen wir das Spielniveau-Ranking. Okay, das müssen wir uns alles mal in Ruhe anschauen, wie sie das machen. Also sie ändern das quasi alles ein bisschen. Top 500 und alles bleibt natürlich. Ja, spannend. Also wirklich sehr, sehr spannend, möchte ich fast sagen. Es sind die Änderungen, auf die wir ein Jahr gewartet haben und es ist gut, dass die endlich da sind. Wir werden uns in weiteren Videos natürlich das Ganze im Spiel anschauen. Wir gucken uns die Patch-Notes noch an den Beispielen, wie die Helden funktionieren. Also keine Sorge, da kommen morgen ganz viele Videos zu. Und ich wollte das aber heute schon mal raushauen. Vielen Dank fürs Zuschauen.